Okay, YouTube, got some work to do. Got 552 miles there. I've had this bike 8 days. Been driving it every day to work and stuff. Now, 24mm socket. I know there's already tons of oil change videos and everything else for this bike, but this is my personal human experience, and this is my break-in oil change. It's not all I'm going to do, though, if I can ever get this off of here. I'm also going to change out the sprocket. Just the front one, though. That's not even the right one. I typically would change the chain, front sprocket, rear sprocket, all at the same time. However, this thing's brand new, so, well, that's the brake thing. On the other side, I tried with the old chain. That one's too short, though. Wouldn't work. 2 links short. I have 10W30 in here, just because that's what I had whenever I got the bike, and just changed the packaging oil out of it. One thing I really like about this bike is you don't have to worry about oil filter. You just remove this one bolt that you would normally be removing to drain the oil, and the screen and everything's right there. But that's really cool, though. That thing's spring-loaded, by the way. You want to watch out or it'll just fly out at you, which won't hurt anything. I guess you could potentially damage the screen. Nah. So dirty looking. Doesn't clear at all. That's just 500 miles. I have a suspicion, though, that some of the packaging oil remained in there, because I only added a quart, and I think it was overfilled. So I think maybe some oil was in the cylinder or something like that, because I changed the oil without starting it at all. I just know I only put 1 quart of oil. As far as the oil is concerned, there are 2 specifications that I'm aware of, that I've read, that I've came across in the user manual. One being the weight of the oil, the 10W40. Second thing being the 1.6 quarts that you're supposed to add to the engine. I only added a quart. It was overfilled for sure, according to the dipstick and the sight glass, I'm assuming. So I'm thinking there was some oil in there left from shipping. Could be wrong. Dunno. Don't care. Whatever. Moving on. Ow, shit, bro. I'm gonna kill myself. Lever has so much slack in it, and I just bumped into it and hurt my back. That might be a bit too much. I do like that I don't have to go buy a proprietary filter or comparable aftermarket one just to change the oil. All I do is buy oil. The screen's here unless the screen's bad. One thing I am going to do is have a screen on backup, just for in case this one fails or something. And the or something is maybe I damage it taking it out. Maybe I leave it on the ground, step on it. Something dumb. I wouldn't put it past myself. The cap is going to be torqued to 18 foot-pounds upon replacing it. Something like this. Ooh, except a lot cleaner. That's pretty much the only way it can go in. If you put it in the other way, you'd be smushing the screen. And this makes a seal right in there. Foot-pounds. I'm not really sure how much oil I should add. Should I go with a quart or a quart and a half? I don't really even know how to deploy this. Oh, like that. Neat. I've never used a Kickstarter before. See, it's saying it's full. I'm just gonna go with that quart for now. Yeah, see, that's a quart, and it's like filling up the sight glass. Now, what's supposed to occur here? I'm curious, because I don't know. Should it be full? Everything's put back together. Drain plug torqued. Let's warm the beast up, and then check the oil for the final reading and add more if we have to. Now for the cool down. And this bike's really balanced. See, I only put a cord in and it's saying that it's full. And then the sight glass is full. So what am I to do? I can't overfill it with oil just because I think that it's low whenever it's telling me that it's not. I'm doing everything correctly. Everything. So I'm only going to put a cord in. Screw it. And I'm not complaining about only taking a cord. I just want to make sure I'm not depriving it of oil. This little dipstick design's bullshit though. Just make the sight glass the primary checking device. Alright, now on to the sprocket and the chain. Got this clip-on style as well. I've used those, and if I bought one that wasn't a clip-on style, I'd be paying a lot more for it. I think I paid like maybe 20 or 30 bucks for this. If I could have gotten a riveted master link chain within a similar price range, then I would have. But this is the only thing that was available at the bike shop without ordering it. I'm gonna wait. This came with a clip-on style. It's worked fine. This engine doesn't do a whole lot. Had an R3, I was revving the hell out of it one night. For the entire night, going over rough terrain. Clip-on style failed for me then. Where's that clip at? Before I do that, I'll loosen all this stuff. These aren't very tight, so I'm not bothering with brake or gear or anything like that. They're just barely on it. Tried this before. I couldn't get to work because the chain to go on was too tight. Short links. I had the tire as far forward as you could get it, and it still wouldn't have enough slack to get it over. I tried rolling the chain onto the sprocket, and it kept getting bound, and this is a really cheap small chain. I was worried I would just break the chain or deform it or something like that. I'm going to clean this off, but add a bit more. Sprocket, I'm assuming the letters are supposed to be facing out. If that's not the case, then Lord help me. I haven't even thought about lighting this entire time. Just gonna take one link off. Wait, I don't know if I can. Can I though? Have to take two off. If I take any off, because that's a join. This master link has to go in one of those holes. That hole's not going to be there. It'll be there. See, that's too tight. That's not going to fit. Almost, but no cigar. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it like this. See if it'll tighten enough. It's only one link too long. This clip's one of those tiny ones. I don't like it. Doesn't protrude far enough out to use a screwdriver, really. There we go. Now, if this works, it couldn't be more simple than this. The clip-on style is like easy mode, but it's not as reliable. And the only reason why I'm not grinding off one is because I don't think you can just grind off one and that'd be fine, because it has to mate with the next one in line. So if I take it off here, this part's got to be there, not here. Because it can't just come mate there, it has to mate here. So I'll have to take off 2 links, so it'll be too short. That's why I'm not removing anything yet. Direction of travel is that way. You'd be moving along this way. You don't want anything to notch it loose. So that's how you place it. I'll show you how to do the chain tension. It's really simple. This worries me that it clips so easily. Oh Lord. Obviously too loose. Turn these the same amount on either side so your alignment won't be off. Of course, this was screwed from the get-go. Way too loose. At least this way I'll be able to put on some lock nuts. I'm assuming the chain that was on the bike was a little too short to begin with, or I'd be able to make that sprocket change no problem. And I'd be able to place these on already. I'd have keeper nuts already. I always carry this tape measure in my backpack for various reasons. One, well, mostly just the chain tension and stuff on the bike. So what I do, you're supposed to measure. You check the chain tension, and that seems a little bit loose to me, but you check the chain tension midway between the sprockets. I've measured from there to there. That's midway. I keep that marked. May look stupid, but whatever. I don't have to worry about concerning myself where I should measure at or remembering or anything like that. It's just an X. What I do is I measure from the center of this bolt, axle thingy, whatever it is. It's not an axle, it's just a bolt that runs all the way through the frame. Measure from there to the end of there. So that's 22 and 7/16. 22 and 8/16. 22 and a half. Measure twice, cut once, huh? I'm gonna bet this one's probably not 22 and a half. This one you have to get behind this part. Or there rather, so the tape won't be bent out, so you get an accurate reading. Below that bolt, basically under this one midway, there's a little nipple in the end of both of these bolts. See, this one's not 22 and a half. This one's a bit more. Let's see. I'm gonna tighten it a little. Actually, I'm gonna check the tension. I'm gonna put this chain within 1 inch of play, meaning right there, find one of those things. I'll move it down. It's 2 and 10/16. This one's 1 4/16, so it's a bit different. What you want is you'll measure from the bottom parameter being there. It's at 2 and a half. You want 1 inch of play. Then you move it up. And when you move it up and push it as far as you can, it should be about right there. And that'll be good. Within 1 inch of spec. That's where I'm putting it. Since this one is about 2/16 looser, I'll tighten it up. You don't want to go too crazy with it because these revolutions do a lot in the way of tightening the chain. Oops, still one loose. And there are loose spots and tight spots in the chain. You can go through the process of either putting your bike in neutral or whatever, pulling the clutch and rolling it forward, or getting it off the ground and turning the wheel forward to find the loose and tight spots on the chain. But if you're going with 1 inch of free play, there's a little margin for error on either side. So I'm not even going to bother with moving it. I'm just not. Because I'm just lazy right now. I've done enough work. 2 and a half, 1 and a half. That plays good. I just gotta make sure it's even here. 22 and a half. Yeah. A 1/16 less, it's a bit loose, so I'll tighten this more. It'll drive that backwards because that'll be screwing into that and pulling it backwards. Now I'll check it. Maybe it's a 22 and a half, or at least approaching it now. 22 and a half. No, it's still loose. Chain can't be any tighter, so I need to loosen the other side now. I'll go 2 on that side, and then I can move this side tight if I need to. You just can't do it unevenly. Okay, I can't really do that too much looser without being too loose, so I'm sure this is too loose now. Once you get it dialed in, maintenance isn't quite such a lengthy process. This is just getting a new chain into place. 2 3/4. One 1/4. It's a bit loose. Here we have 22 7/16. 22 7/16. Now we're in a good spot. Now it's easy mode. This is what it'll be like whenever you're just doing the maintenance. Now I can just tighten them the same amount on either side. So I'll do a half turn on both sides. It should be about right and even. 1/4. 2/4. 1/4. 2/4. 2 1/2. A little more than 1 1/2. Check the other side. $22 and a half. That means the alignment is good. Now I can snug these up and then torque them, the axle components I mean. Holding the left, tightening the right. Rear wheel axle nut torque, 65 foot-pounds. I think this torque wrench might be going bad. Yeah, it's not clicking. This thing's broken. I'll be driving to get a new torque wrench, and hopefully that'll hold. So I did have some bolts there, as you can see, or nuts rather, to put on for keepers on either side. What you're actually supposed to do upon getting everything aligned and the tension correct, and torquing it, and then rechecking the alignment and the tension. Then you hold these in place because you don't want these to move. That's where your tension comes in at. And then, so you hold one with this wrench, and then you move and you tighten the other one while holding this one in place. And you snug this one up, not that one. So I don't have to buy any more. Okay, you may or may not approve of this fix. I've heard of people having issues with the cover going back on after installing the Sprocket. I ran into the same issue. Hoped I wouldn't, but I did. What I did was, upon seeing that there was no way I was going to be able to fit it on, no matter how much I wiggled it or moved it around, I began trying to pry this outwards, so it had enough clearance. Upon doing so, it began breaking. Upon breaking and rechecking fitment, I realized, hey, this just may be the fix. So what I'm gonna do here is get the bike off the rear wheel with a jack and see if there's any clearance issues with the parts moving. If there is, then I'll break off a bit more. If not, then I'll just tighten it on and we'll be done. Should be in neutral still. Yeah, we're good. I don't hear any rubbing. And you would definitely hear it. I don't feel it any either. Alright, we're good to go.